Okay, let's get into this. We've all been there, right? Feeling down, be really lonely, or just like, oh, everything is going wrong. It's such a universally tough feeling.
It really is.
And we got some incredibly insightful material from a listener, let's call her Sarah, who was right in the thick of those feelings. She shared this really personal reflection on it.
Yeah, and that's what this deep dive is all about, really unpacking Sarah's account. It's her journey through these, well, really difficult emotions and events. And it's packed with potential tools, ways of thinking about processing that kind of heavy stuff. So our mission today is to dig into her experience, see what wisdom we can pull out that might, click for you too, especially if you're feeling something similar.
Right, how she sort of navigated from feeling totally swamped to finding some clarity.
Exactly.
And the source itself, it's basically her personal thoughts shared online. Starting from that place, it's just so relatable, feeling attacked, isolated, just completely overwhelmed.
And what's really compelling is how she describes moving from that initial reaction. She didn't just wallow in it. She talks about this very specific step she took, a core technique really, writing it all down and then asking herself straight up, okay, what is actually going on here? What are you really upset about and why?
That simple act, just writing and questioning.
She says that was the key, the first step to getting any kind of handle on it.
And doing that led her to this major aha moment. She realized that all this anger she felt, especially towards her mom, for not defending her in some argument.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about her mom. When she dug into it, she saw it was really rooted in her own feeling of, not standing up for herself.
Okay. That's a big shift.
Yeah.
She connects that, doesn't she, to the idea of the inner child.
Yeah, exactly.
Seeing how that current hurt linked back to maybe past stuff, like feeling she was the black sheep or always having to kind of fight her own battles.
Exactly.
And the insight she got was, okay, the real need isn't for someone else to step in and be the parent or defender. It's about her needing to be that parent for herself, to show up for her own needs.
That feels so fundamental, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It makes you think, when you feel that really intense anger or hurt aimed at someone else.
Yeah.
Could it actually be reflecting something about how you're maybe treating yourself or not protecting yourself?
Absolutely. And she really emphasizes how crucial that self-reflection is, to get beyond the surface trigger to the actual root.
Right.
She gives that example of being hurt in a toxic relationship. Maybe the deep pain isn't even about whether the partner loved you or not, but about asking yourself, why did I allow that? Why did I stay?
Oof. Yeah.
Getting to that level changes everything, where you put your energy for healing.
Okay, so then the conversation takes this really interesting turn, maybe a bit unexpected. Sarah mentioned something she heard from a shaman about this whole constant drive to be high vibrational, always positive.
Yes. The potential problem with only focusing on positivity.
Right. And the idea she shares is that, we're souls having a human experience in these bodies, and we actually need grounding.
Okay.
And according to this view, the emotions we often label as negative anger, sadness, frustration, even jealousy, they aren't just bad things to get rid of.
Right. They have a function.
Yeah. She says they're the very things that help bring the energy, the positive intentions, down into the physical body, which is apparently necessary for actually, manifesting things or creating in the real world.
So instead of fighting them, it's about understanding their purpose.
Exactly. Within this framework, she learned about anger points to where your boundaries were crossed, right? Where you felt hurt or neglected.
Makes sense.
Jealousy. Maybe not just petty envy, but a signpost showing you what you genuinely desire. Could even be motivation.
And sadness.
And sadness. She said sometimes it's just okay to be sad. Maybe the body just needs that release, that relaxation that can come with just allowing the sadness.
It's like letting the pressure valve release.
Yeah. She actually describes feeling these intense emotions as triggers being released, like old stagnant energy that needed to move out.
Okay.
She felt it herself after processing that whole thing with her mother.
Yeah.
The intensity went, and she felt, lighter.
That really does reframe how you might approach those difficult feelings, doesn't it? Instead of seeing them as bad or something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Maybe see them as signals or necessary releases, just part of the human package, and maybe even, constructive. Yeah.
Okay, so from understanding those internal feelings, she then shifts to another pretty challenging aspect of growth,
Which is,
especially when you're actively trying to manifest something new or move towards a new reality. life itself often starts, well, rearranging things around you.
Ah, the clearing out phase.
Yeah.
She describes this as like the universe or just life itself starting to remove people, situations, things that aren't actually helping you anymore, even if they feel comfortable.
Right. And she's very real about it. This removal process isn't usually gentle. It hurts. She lists examples. Toxic friends maybe fading out, relationships ending, even leaving jobs or changing family dynamics that were keeping you stuck.
Even if you knew they weren't great for you,
Yeah.
the actual separation, the loss of familiarity is painful.
Totally. And she explains why this happens from her viewpoint. Those things, those people, they were keeping you stagnant, like baggage.
Right, holding you back from that new reality you're aiming for. So being kind of thrown into the unknown, while scary, is actually what creates the space for growth.
And she tells this incredibly powerful, almost kind of shocking personal story to illustrate this point.
Oh, yeah?
She'd been intensely asking for guidance, like praying for clarity on her career path and purpose. And then, boom, she gets kicked out of her house completely unexpectedly and becomes homeless.
Wow. Okay.
She remembers thinking, seriously, this is the guidance I asked for. Like a total betrayal.
I can imagine.
But looking back now, she sees it as this absolutely brutal but necessary rude awakening. It completely dismantled her old life and basically forced her onto the path she actually needed and wanted to be on.
That really hammers home her point, doesn't it? That guidance, the answers we seek, they don't always show up wrapped in a neat little bow.
Not at all.
They often come in the way that serves our growth best, even if it's messy and incredibly painful at the time.
It definitely makes you pause and think, doesn't it? Like, what comfort zones, what relationships or situations in your own life might be holding you back, even if letting go feels almost impossible.
And connecting this back to that idea of necessary difficulty, Sarah brings up a concept you hear a lot in spiritual circles, the law of polarity.
Right, the idea that you kind of need both sides of the coin. Yeah. Good and bad, light and dark.
Exactly. For balance, for perspective, her take is that the bad days, the struggles, they aren't just random. They're actually vital for us to even recognize and appreciate the good stuff.
Yeah, like you wouldn't know up without down.
Pretty much. Difficulties humble you. They show you where you need to evolve. They stop you getting complacent. She uses examples like you only really appreciate a healthy relationship after you've been through a toxic one.
Or understanding abundance after experiencing real lack.
Precisely. The contrast gives meaning. And woven into this is her strong belief that you're always being guided, even when you feel completely lost. She mentions things like signs, intuition, those gut feelings we tend to brush off. She thinks if you actually listen to that inner guidance, it can help you navigate or even avoid some problems.
She also mentions feeling sometimes like she's seeing things from this like deeper soul perspective.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't make her crazy, just maybe tuned into different layers.
Yeah, a different kind of knowing.
And she shares this incredibly vulnerable moment, being at rock bottom, feeling totally desperate, and just crying out for help to God, the universe, her guides, whatever felt right.
Wow.
And she describes this almost immediate shift the very next morning. Like clarity just descended and a path forward opened up that wasn't there before.
And she frames that as realizing, look, sometimes the problems are too big to handle alone.
Yeah.
And asking for help, but also, crucially, trusting that help will come is essential. Her logic is kind of like, why would all this negativity or loss happen if it wasn't ultimately clearing space for something better?
Even feeling lonely now, she sees it as space being made.
Yeah. It encourages you, the listener, to maybe think about the potential purpose behind your own tough times and maybe start paying a bit more attention to that subtle guidings that might be around.
Okay, so moving from these sort of bigger picture external forces, Sarah brings it back to something really crucial: boundaries. Specifically, not internalizing what other people think about you.
Yes, this is a powerful point she makes. Her stance is incredibly firm on this.
It really is.
What others think of your worth, your value, your path, that's their stuff, their perception, their business, as she puts it. It has zero bearing on your actual inherent value.
Don't let their thoughts become your reality. Don't let it hurt you.
Exactly. You're the gatekeeper. You control what you let in.
And she specifically calls out social media here. The danger of just endless scrolling.
A breeding ground for comparison. Right?
Totally. And she points out how easy it is to just soak up other people's energies, their anxieties. She even says most of the energy you're feeling is probably not even yours.
Wow.
And it just makes you feel bad about yourself for no good reason.
Which all leads back powerfully to her core message about, well, the relationship you have with yourself.
Yeah.
She points out the undeniable truth. You are the only person who is with you 24/7. You literally cannot escape yourself. You go to bed with your own mind every single night.
Yeah, so true when you think about it.
And from that realization, she draws this absolutely vital conclusion: the paramount importance of cultivating that inner relationship by being nice to yourself, kind, gentle, nurturing, especially when you feel awful. It's not selfish, she argues. It's basic survival. Her words are pretty direct. You are the only one you got, so take care of you.
Wow, that's a really strong note to end on. It makes you stop and think, right, where am I maybe taking on negativity that isn't mine? And more importantly, how am I treating this one person I'm always with myself? So if we look back at this whole journey through Sarah's reflection, we started with that really raw feeling, being down, lonely, overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Then we saw her turn inward, trying to find the real root cause, going deeper than just surface anger.
The self-reflection piece.
Then that counterintuitive idea about negative emotions, maybe they have a purpose, grounding us, releasing energy.
The value in the negative, right?
And then the whole concept of life rearranging itself. The painful removals that might actually be clearing space for growth.
Necessary losses, essentially.
Finding purpose even in the hard stuff. And being open to guidance however it shows up. And finally circling back to the absolute importance of protecting your own energy and fundamentally nurturing that relationship with yourself.
Yeah, the main takeaways from her experience really seem to boil down to: listen to your difficult emotions, their signals, understand that loss can create necessary space, trust that guidance is there, even if it's unexpected, and maybe most importantly, your strongest support comes from within.
We really hope diving into Sarah's personal account offered some valuable perspectives for you. Maybe something resonated or gave you a new way to think about things you might be going through.
And maybe just to leave you with a final thought to chew on, building on that last point, given Sarah's really powerful reminder that you are the only constant presence in your own life, if you were to genuinely decide to parent or nurture yourself, starting right now, what's one small, tangible thing you could do today? Just one kind, supportive action purely to show yourself that you're there for you. What might that actually look like in practice?
Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.